Yesterday was the release of Season of Discovery Phase 2, and I gotta say, it's been great so far. I hope you guys have been having a great time questing, leveling up, preparing for Gnomragon, finding the new runes, the new discoveries. I would just like to share with you guys my day one experience in SOD Phase 2, and maybe you guys can share yours. So let's begin by establishing some goals. So I talked about in a previous video how in the month of January, I took the month off just to sort of focus on more just real life stuff, go out camping, move offices. I was using the time to work on my book, which I'll make a video all about that in the future if you guys are interested in learning more about that. And I spent the entire month just away from World of Warcraft. I spent the entire month away from every video game, to be honest. I mean, the only game that I really played in January when I was playing a game was Oblivion. Oblivion is fantastic, by the way, just a small side note. So admittingly, I did come back to Phase 2 a little bit behind probably most of you guys. I didn't have a ton of gold. I didn't have a ton of alts leveled up. I had a few though, to be fair. So jumping back into Classic WoW, I wanted to establish a few goals for day one. The first one was just simply have fun. Don't have a frustrating time. I knew that some of the zones like Duskwood and whatnot were gonna be completely overwhelmed with players. So level up in some lower population zones early on, like Stone Talon Mountains, for example, and then just move on to those zones later on. I wanted to, of course, reconnect with my guildmates. I had been gone for a month after all, so I just kind of wanted to, talk to people, catch up, just be like, hey, how's it been going? So on and so forth. The one thing that I was most excited for was to, of course, go to Duskwood. I love Duskwood as a zone. Me and Krendor recently talked about that in the Two Nerds podcast. I knew that everybody was going to be in Duskwood early on, which at least on my server, I was 100% correct. So I'm glad I didn't go there immediately, but I was so excited to touch Duskwood finally with Aldonari, my Paladin. I was also looking to hit level 27 in the first day. I'm not gonna do like dungeon spamming and stuff. I mean, like I'm fine with doing it a little bit, like, going to SM a couple of times and whatever, but I can't do like an entire day of just spamming dungeons. Like for me, getting to level 40 is not the primary intention of me playing Phase 2. For me, it's to have fun. And so dungeon spamming to me is not fun. That just sounds like kind of, like a min-maxer kind of mindset, or just a, focusing on the meta, the best way to level up as fast as possible. And that's not who I am. I just wanted to hit 27 and just explore the world and catch up with people. And so those were my goals. I would do dungeons later at like 28 plus. That's when you can go into Scarlet Monastery Graveyard. So I just wanted to hit 27. So jumping into the story of what happened, it actually all began with a call with Mukluk. I hopped into a call with him, if you guys remember that character, and we discussed a lot of things for the future of Nixxiom, like video ideas and just content. We even talked about some machinima stuff, which was surprising that topic came up, because me and Mukluk don't really make machinima so much anymore, but Season of Discovery was kind of bringing out that energy a little bit, and I think both of us. But anyway, we were in a call, we were geeking out in Discord, and I was just kind of running around the world at the time, not really doing anything. But when Phase 2 finally dropped, I made my way over to Ashenvale, and it was absolutely 100% completely empty. The entire zone was just dead. Everybody had run to Stranglethorn Vale to participate in the PvP event, whatever. I made my way through Ashenvale. I headed south through the Stone Talon Pass into Stone Talon Mountains, and thankfully, as I had hoped, Stone Talon Mountains was very much empty. Now, to be fair, I was level 25, obviously, so this was a little bit of like lower level content, but it still was fun, and it was very relaxing and easy gameplay, and it allowed me to talk to Mukluk and geek out about ideas for a while. And that was fun. I did get killed by a hunter at one point while I was in Stone Talon Mountains. I didn't get any footage of it, but this bastard just came up and like 3-shot me, and I remember I was dying and I was like, man, I'm not even gonna waste my time bubbling against this asshole. Like, it's a hunter, man. You're just gonna die. Like, who cares? But Stone Talon was great. It was very much empty. It was my time to talk to my guildmates, to reconnect with people, which was, again, one of my goals. And it was cool seeing all the people, discussing like, oh, hey, like where might Blizzard hide a new rune, or where might we find this? Do you think that Blizzard updated some stuff in like the older 1 to 25 content, like maybe added some new sprinkles there, somewhere, for people leveling alts? Like, it was all just speculation. Like, we didn't know. And I love that. I don't know how to describe it, but like, it's one of the great pleasures of playing an MMO is stepping into the world and just not knowing what to expect and where to find things. And I absolutely love the fact that Blizzard has learned this lesson from Season of Discovery, and they're even bringing this mindset into retail World of Warcraft. If you don't know, patch 10.2.6 is actually not going to be tested on the PTR. Blizzard just wants to make it a mystery. They want to just, add some new content into the game and let people just enjoy it like together for the first time. No stupid Wowhead guide to follow or whatever. And I think that's awesome. Like that really is what makes the world feel alive, like the community feel energized. Now, before anybody gets on me about this topic real fast, I'm not like against websites like Wowhead or MMO Champion or even add-ons like Zygor, who is the sponsor of this channel. But I've always said since the very beginning, and I'm gonna keep saying it even today, that if it's your first time stepping into an MMO, regardless of the game, don't look at any guides. I did not have Wowhead open on the other monitor, monitoring when the new runes are gonna like pop up and like where are they so I can just rush over there as fast as possible. No, like really, if you're gonna find things, find it by talking to people in game, find it by, interacting with the world, exploring and so on. Like that's just such a pleasure for me anyway. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, maybe you guys don't really enjoy that so much. You don't really like the mystery. You kind of prefer the linear path. But once you've done it before, like once you know like where to find Mankirk's wife, yeah, look on Wowhead if you forgot, yeah, get a guide out on like Zygor, by all means. Zygor is linked down below in the description, by the way, if you want to check them out. They are World of Warcraft's ultimate add-on. They are the sponsor for Nixxiom. They're a fantastic group of guys. They're a pleasure to work with, and they're of course keeping the add-on updated for Season of Discovery Phase 2 and of course Dragonflight as well. So it's a fantastic add-on. Eventually though, my time in Stone Talon Mountains ended and I made my way back into Ashenvale, which again, this was, my plan to go from Stone Talon to go into Ashenvale. And once I got to Ashenvale, as predicted, the zone was just completely freaking empty still. Nobody was interested in Ashenvale. Nobody was interested in all the PvP crap, which was perfect for questing. Now, I did see some people while running around in Ashenvale, but definitely not many. It was just like a couple. After several quests in Ashenvale, I made my way towards the Eastern Kingdoms, and here I arrived finally in the Wetlands. The Wetlands was one of those zones where I figured a lot of people would be there, so I wanted to avoid it for a little bit beforehand. That way, people could kind of run through there and do their stuff, and then I could come in behind the masses and do my quests undisturbed. That was my plan, and it worked with Wetlands, sort of. I will admit there were still quite a few people in Wetlands, but it wasn't so bad that anything was frustrating. This actually was the time when I started having to group up with people in order to kill things like named NPCs. But Wetlands was great. I love Wetlands as a zone, and it was fun. It was actually around this time as well that I noticed that in the guild chat and in the general chats that people actually began to find things in, phase 2. This is the time when people started posting those, man, I can't remember the name of them. The books that you can find, like, in the dungeons and stuff, the skill mastery books. I forget what they're called. You can leave a comment down below. But, the books that you can find in the dungeons, they were finding those, they were posting them in the general chat. People were posting these epic items that you can get from the Stranglethorn PvP event. Even some people were saying, oh, dude, I found a new rune. Like, this is when, like, the discovery really started to happen. This is when, like, it's kind of like the information started to pass through the grapevine, and that was really cool, especially when I saw like the two-handed sword that you can get for a paladin in the Stranglethorn PvP event. And then I learned that like the little, book of learning that you can get in Scarlet Monastery for paladins, it makes your buffs even more powerful and last even longer. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is so exciting. Like it was such a, like, it just made you want to play even more. I was like, man, maybe screw that 27 goal. Like, let's go all the way to 30 tonight. That's kind of how I felt. There was also a lot of trolling at this time, I admit. A lot of people saying like, dude, like I found like this rune that allows you to fly, dude. Like, just, well, that's an exaggeration, but crap like that, whatever. It was just like a bunch of like crap trolling discovery, but it was funny. Like it was great for like watching people falling for it in the guild chat, and I loved it. Once the first discoveries started, so much theory crafting began. You saw it not just in like the guild chat, but you saw it in the general chats, people talking like, man, again, like where did Blizzard hide runes? What's a likely place? What's a likely thing that Blizzard might have done? And the theory crafting was fun. Even me jumping in there being like, kind of throwing some of my ideas into the mix. Like, oh, maybe there's something hidden in Blackrock Mountain or whatever. I don't know. Like, well, I guess we're gonna find out. I will admit that I was kind of jealous of some of my friends were very much prepared for day one of phase 2 with money and with a lot of quests to turn in and stuff. So, I mean, in no time at all, like, you know, I'm level 26 and these guys were like level 30 and stuff. They were just like spamming Scarlet Monastery and getting all this cool gear. I was a little bit jealous, I admit, but not so jealous that I'm like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice my world exploration adventure, you know, to just go spam graveyard. Like, not that jealous, but I was a little jealous of the gear that they were getting and the stuff that they were linking in the guild chat. Like, that was cool. I love the fact that Blizzard took the time to update the loot tables in Scarlet Monastery. Dude, like, even like at one point they were doing SM and they got like this like broken sword, and like if you give it to a blacksmith, he can like reforge it and it makes like this brand new weapon. Like, I thought that was so cool. Like there's so much new profession stuff that Blizzard has added in. I was like, oh my God, like I was geeking out. Like, this is so cool. So anyway, back to the adventure. I quested in Wetlands. Yes, I was 26 at this point, but it was finally time. I was going to Duskwood. I spent a little bit of time in Stormwind, but eventually I made my way south and I went to Duskwood. And thankfully I had missed the Horde. Like, dude, in the guild chat, they were saying that like Duskwood was like, it was impossible to quest there, like especially once launch happened. Luckily, I missed like the mad rush. I mean, there was still a lot of people there, but it wasn't that bad. Understand this, Duskwood, like once you hit Duskwood as a Paladin player on the Alliance, in my opinion, that's when like the Paladin class like really comes to life. Because, you know, it's like the first time you can use Exorcism as an ability. So you're just cleaving through undead. And it's awesome. Like, yeah, you get a little bit of that in Ashenvale. If you go to like the demon areas, you can use Exorcism on them. But like Duskwood is like where it's at, man. Like all the undead and stuff. And you feel like, you know, this righteous paladin of Stormwind, you know, like purging like this cursed forest. And it's so cool. Recently on the Two Nerds podcast with Krendor, we finished our giant walk where we walked from Teldrassil all the way to the gates of Ahn'Qiraj as 2 Night Elves. And in the last episode, we talked about some of our favorite zones in World of Warcraft, Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms, and Duskwood has always been one of my favorite zones in the game, so it's always a pleasure to reach this milestone with a character. And it was in Duskwood, chatting with my guildies, geeking out with all the people in the general chat, running from stitches, that I finally hit level 27, and I was like, okay, you know, it's time to call it a night. At that point, yeah, it was 3 a.m., you know, I had enough footage. I knew I had to edit this video in the morning, which, you know, I'm recording right now, and then I gotta, you know, edit this, and then I'll, you know, hop back in and keep playing and stuff. But it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. There was so much that I could say about Season of Discovery, like just so much praise that I could give it. And I could make a whole video just like listing every single small thing that I have enjoyed about SOD. And of course I could make a video talking about some of the things that I have not enjoyed about SOD, like the bot problem, for example, which I am so thankful for that Blizzard apparently in this new phase has introduced new anti-bot technology, which they have not revealed anything about, you know, to obviously to fight against the bot problem in Classic WoW. I'm very thankful that Blizzard is taking that seriously and they are fighting it. That's really cool. But there's just so much good to say about Season of Discovery. And maybe I'll make like a whole, like, you know, 1.5 hour long video about it at some point in the future. But really the best way that I can describe it, and maybe you guys will disagree with this, maybe you guys will think this is a little corny, but Season of Discovery, it feels like I'm playing World of Warcraft again. And what I mean by that is not that, like, you know, playing Classic WoW back in the day didn't feel like I was playing WoW. Not that, you know, playing Dragonflight doesn't necessarily feel like you're playing WoW, but like when you play Season of Discovery, it's like they've sort of recaptured the magic of what made original, you know, 2004 World of Warcraft so freaking special. My future goals, like for today, or, you know, whenever I finish editing this video, I want to hit level 30 perhaps and start doing Scarlet Monastery. Maybe not today, but maybe like tomorrow or something, I'll start doing SM. I really want to get that Paladin dungeon book that makes your buffs really overpowered. I do want to go to Stranglethorn PvP. I want to mess around. I want to get that two-handed epic sword. I have no idea how to get it, but I want to get that for my Paladin. That would be really cool. And of course, I want to find my very first rune through exploration. Maybe I walked right past one and I didn't even realize. Like, I mean, I don't know. And I also really want to get that sleeping bag. Like, I you know, the sleeping bag, people say like, it's not worth it because it takes like an hour and a half to do it. You know, there's no real reason to do it. But you know what? I want that damn sleeping bag. So that's probably something I'm going to focus on the next time I log in. Guys, Phase 2 is out. I really hope you guys are having fun. And if you want to watch another video after this one, I recently checked out Dragonflight patch 10.2.5, and I shared my experiences playing that patch, the good and the bad. If you want like a quick little summary, it's pretty good. But there are some things that, you know, that can be criticized. So, which definitely, you know, pissed off some people in the comment section because, you know, heaven forbid you give Blizzard criticism, you know, heaven forbid, but that's okay. Guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.